And I would hope that we all agree with decency, but it seems like decency went out the window in this country.
Wait, so we just letting in the people who don't agree with all that? And this club just let anybody in now. Hey, welcome to Racist of the Week. I am Reese Waters. This is where we expose the stupidity and hypocrisy of discrimination in hopes we can build a more perfect union. And also laugh. As usual, I would like to thank today's sponsor, Racism. And of course, if you have any nominees, you can throw them in the comments. You can email me at reese@reesewaters.com. And shout out to all of our subscribers and members here on the channel. Today's nominee, America. I mean, did you really need me to explain that?
I was saved by God to make America great again. It will henceforth be the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female. A short time from now, we are going to be changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, to the Gulf of America. So this is a big one.
This is a proclamation guaranteeing the state's protection against invasion based on the current crisis at the southern border. It invokes various executive powers relating to the ongoing invasion at the southern border.
We're the only country in the world that does this with birthright, as you know. And it's just absolutely ridiculous. But
the next item here is the withdrawal from the Paris Climate Treaty. We're going to save over $1 trillion by withdrawing from that treaty.
what is this?
Withdrawing from the World Health Organization. So.
Ooh, that's a big one. So this is January 6th. These are the hostages. Approximately 1,500 for a pardon.
The Trump administration announced a sweeping freeze on all federal grants, funds already approved by Congress. Chief Washington correspondent John Carl is tracking Trump's executive action. John, the administration says this is just a temporary pause, but it could have major consequences.
Hey, if you don't want to believe me, take it from Jasmine Crockett.
Hey, y'all. New hair, as you can see. I am headed in for my swearing in. I am late.
Whoa. What in the Mary J. Blige? What funeral and repast you just came from? They didn't have time for you to change before you went to the swearing in? Man, that body not even cold. By the way, hopefully you didn't actually come from a funeral. If that's the case, then I apologize. That is very appropriate.
But I absolutely promised that I was going to go live so that I could talk about this bullshit that's popping off.
I don't know about you, but I trust a congressman that says, I want to talk about this bullshit that's popping off. That is, you know, when they say who you would like to have a beer with, I would say most likely to say bullshit that's popping off. That's who I trust.
So, in short, as I attempted to say over and over and over in the campaign, this is a white supremacy agenda that was laid out in Project 2025. If you go back on YouTube and look at some of the clips of various members in committee asking people such as the guy that they're trying to put over the OMB, he is somebody that I question for sure about this Project 2025 agenda because he is one of the authors of Project 2025. I am trying to tell you that they don't care about the middle class.
By the way, in case you don't remember that.
Mr. Hamilton, I don't want you to feel left out of this conversation. So I'm going to make sure I ask you some questions. Let me know if you're having problems answering them because they really should be yes or no. Let's see. You're the executive director for the America First Legal, correct?
That's correct.
All right. And America First Legal is a member of Project 2025, which is dedicated to creating the playbook for the next conservative administration and what it calls the Project Pillars, correct?
We are proud contributors to Project 2025.
Okay. And are you familiar with Project 2025's mandate for leadership?
In fact, I am.
Okay. And in fact, you wrote some of the sections of this mandate related to the DOJ, correct?
Sure did.
And the mandate outlines policy priorities for the next conservative president. Is that correct?
It does.
You've done a great job. I just want to let you know. All right, so let's walk through some of the provisions of the mandate. It calls for eliminating the Department of Education, eliminating the Department of Commerce, deploying the military for the use of domestic law enforcement against protesters under the Insurrection Act of 1807. It also has the repealing of Schedule F status for thousands of federal employees to allow a president to replace career civil servants with unqualified partisan loyalists. That's probably my favorite of it. It also prohibits the FBI from combating the spread of misinformation and disinformation, like Russia and China, who are actively trying to interfere with American elections. I don't know why or how anybody can support Project 2025. And I know that there was allegedly a joke about dictators and whether or not that's funny, but in the United States of America, dictatorships are never funny. And Project 2025 is giving the playbook for authoritarianism as well as the next dictator to come in. And I know that you are doing your jobs here by making sure that hopefully some juror turns on and finds some viral moment of you spewing more of the nonsense as it relates to the president. But as practicing lawyers or licensed attorneys, I hope that we can all agree that no one gets indicted because someone says so. There takes a grand jury, and the grand jury is comprised of American citizens that sit down and review evidence, and they make the determination. And when and if Trump is convicted, it will be a jury of his peers, and it won't be the president of the United States.
Democrats need to stop saying that we didn't have a middle class agenda. No, our middle class agenda has been taking care of people for a very long time.
Now, I love that she said this. One of the things that infuriated me in the postscript to the election is to hear from people that the Democrats had abandoned the working man, that the Democrats had abandoned the middle class, while Trump stands in front of literally the richest man in the world. Like, how do you do that? Like, how do you? The man was willing to put money in people's pockets to register people to vote in Pennsylvania. That guy. But the Democrats abandoned the working man. At the same time, you don't necessarily get this one for free, Democrats, because I can't simultaneously say it's ridiculous to argue that you abandon the middle class when he's surrounded by billionaires, and also think that everything is fine when they were able to make that rhetoric fly. Clearly, there is a disconnect between perception and reality, and that's something they're able to play upon consistently.
And I'm gonna be clear, it's not just a middle class agenda, it is a poor folk agenda as well. So the idea that people right now are struggling, not knowing whether or not Head Start will actually be available so that they can go out and work, and then the next thing you know, we know that the Republicans are gonna say you need to pick yourself up by your bootstraps, even though you can't go to work and you wanna go to work. I just tweeted not too long ago about the fact that our unemployment numbers are going to go up. We are headed for a full-on recession, and that is not me trying to be an alarmist. That is me trying to get you to pay attention.
And just in case you're questioning what she's saying right now, you could either A, look at these empty fields across America, or B, just leave your house and look at these prices across America.
So most of you are wondering, what can you do? Well, what we should have done was on November 5th, but nevertheless, this is where we are. So what do we do next? Well, number one, there's a lot of organizations that have decided they are going to engage in litigation. We also need to be supportive of our attorney generals in the good states. The good states are the ones that have this all together. Now, the poor states haven't jumped in this. And frankly, if we get court rulings that benefit the whole country, those poor states like Mississippi, like Louisiana, the ones that rely on the states that bring in the money, like California, etc., then you know what? If y'all not trying to jump in the litigation, don't worry about getting your funding. We'll keep the funding in our states, the ones that have attorney generals that are actually working for the people.
In other words, to quote the great Smokey, you didn't put in on this man, and I got no problem with it. I got absolutely no problem with it. And by the way, it's not lost on me the, how shall I say, leanings of most of the jurisdictions that she named. So y'all want to stand on business? Huh? Y'all want to stand on MAGA business?
So where are we right now? We know that there's been lawsuits filed everywhere. There has been one district court judge as it relates specifically to him trying to stop these funds, okay? That judge has basically said, we gonna put a hold on this. We not doing what you want to do on Monday, February 3rd, when everything is supposed to take effect. Now, the questions are like, what will it impact? Because they got their new little press secretary. She got up there. She lying through her teeth. She just a good MAGA because only loyalists are allowed to be involved. She did not want to answer the questions. They said if it was benefits that go directly to the people, then the benefits will still go directly to the people. The reality is that when they put out the memo, it contradicted what she said.
That's not the only thing that contradicted what she said. Also, facts and information also contradicted what she said. Did she really say $50 million in condoms for Gaza? How many is that? That's like over 20 per person in a war zone? Anytime, any place. You know, I should stop. We not cool with Janet right now.
So who knows what all they are trying to go after? It does seem as if SNAP benefits will be on the cutting block. And again, you can go back and watch video footage of me talking about the fact that rural America uses more SNAP benefits than urban America, but urban America seems to get it right when it comes to voting. Rural America, I need you to wake up, because if for some reason you can't put food on your table, just know who you need to blame.
And rural America, just in case you're doubting what she's saying right now, here you go.
Let me just get right down to some math. There's something in this bill that I think if you ask every member of this committee, that they can say, you know what, I agree with that one part. Someone can find something, but that's not the definition of bipartisanship. Bipartisanship means that we are looking at making sure that those things that are at the core of who we are. And when we say things like we're fighting for SNAP benefits, I do want to be clear that me fighting for SNAP benefits isn't about my district. I mean, obviously it is, but at the end of the day, so many members have said, my district, my district, my district, my district, my district. When we write a farm bill, it is for everyone in the United States of America. And just to clarify, when it comes to SNAP benefits specifically, rural America uses more SNAP benefits than urban America. And right now, I serve an urban district. The majority of my Republican colleagues serve rural districts. So when I say that I'm fighting for a bill that includes making sure that people in this country don't go hungry, I'm not saying that just to say that this is about Texas 30. I'm saying that to say that this is about all of us. So I am not just fighting for my constituents, I'm fighting for yours too. And that's all we're asking for. And ultimately, if we really want to make sure that there's a bipartisan farm bill, then you will absolutely have the opportunity to do that by making sure that we can protect America's safety net.
Now, I understand that hearing it from Jasmine Crockett's mouth, or hearing it from Reese Waters' mouth, or seeing it on the screen on YouTube might not be enough to supersede the Fox News and Newsmax rhetoric that it is a black and brown program exclusively, because I know that's how they like to frame things. Just wait and see. Just wait and see when that check comes. I mean, I know the fact that you yourself aren't on it hasn't even affected your perception, but let's just wait. You'll see.
In addition to that, there is a question about whether or not housing benefits are going to be under attack. From what I can tell, it looks like if you get a housing voucher, that it may be under attack. We also know that those that typically get rural electric assistance as it relates to being able to pay those bills, as well as LIHEAP, it looks like those are going to be under attack as well. Let me just tell y'all something. He has a track record of bankruptcy. He has a track record of just not paying his bills. Right now, what he is trying to do is run the federal government the exact same way, in a fraudulent way where we don't pay our bills.
And what I can't figure out is, these were things that even MAGA didn't dispute pre-election. But he was the one you trusted with the economy. But y'all not racist. That would be like letting J.D. Vance call somebody a Silicon Valley. They actually did that too. They did that too.
So on March 14th, mark my words, I could be wrong, but I think we're going to end up shutting down the government. The problems that we keep seeing is that he is trying to test his power. He said that he was going to be a dictator on day one, and that's exactly what we are experiencing, because he decides that his power of the pen should overrule everything else. The reason that he is wrong, in my legal opinion, is that when it comes to appropriations, that is not something that the president does. It is something that the Congress does. The Congress has the power of the purse. What does that mean? That means that it has to go through 535 people before it makes it to the president's desk. And that is the only way that we literally take in your tax dollars from the various ways that we take in tax revenue. And then we redistribute that money in the various ways that we do. That has to go through Congress. He unilaterally believes that he can, with the stroke of a pen, say, never mind, we're going to undo that. A couple of issues with that. Number one, we have the power of the purse, not the president. Number two, that has already been signed into law. We have organizations that are relying on us. They have made contracts based on that. And so I personally think those organizations need to jump into some of this litigation, because they are relying to their detriment on what we promised them. That's yet more legal terminology. But he tried this when it came down to the Constitution. He believes that he can override the Constitution as well. And so that's why he's been pushed back by a Reagan Republican judge immediately, where they said you can't get rid of birthright citizenship. But I think that what he's trying to do is he is daring this Trump Supreme Court to cross him.
Hey, Jasmine, I'm just going to jump in here real quick. And yes, shout out to Judge Lauren Ali Khan for that coming through. Now, Donald Trump isn't the first citizen to have designs like this, either in the United States or across the world. But what stops them from achieving that total power here are the checks and balances that we have put in place. Those come in two forms. Those come in those in his party who are supposed to pledge an allegiance to the country over their party, and certainly the country over an individual. And that speaks to the people on the other side of the aisle who repeatedly debase themselves for Trump. The other check and balance would be the folks that oppose him, who should be holding him accountable and making these things punitive. Because all the stuff that he's doing is stuff that y'all said he was going to do. But that wasn't a problem. Which is a problem.
Listen, all we need is some people with a backbone, and that's on both sides of the aisle. We need some Republicans that say we are not okay with you destroying everything. And when I say everything, it's not just going to be black folk. It's not just going to be brown folk. It's going to be rural white folk as well.
And that is the fascinating thing about where we are now, because it blows my mind how many people are willing to say, but not me. We saw it with the summer of 2020 and the fact that the idea of having any kind of accountability for law enforcement was a partisan issue because people convinced themselves that it wasn't them. We saw it in the election of 2024 when the Latinos for Trump were able to convince themselves, oh, but not me. We saw it with women. well, I'm secure. My man got money. My family gonna be good. I'm not really worried about future generations or what the women cross town got to deal with. So many people were willing to convince themselves, not me. We are a massively selfish country right now.
So if y'all don't come together and understand we need to organize for the midterms right now, or at least yesterday, then we are going to continue to go down this road.
But now in this moment, he hit everybody. And quite frankly, as much as I hate to see the people who were standing in the way or trying to stand in the way of this happening suffer, not be able to get their benefits, not be able to get their care, whatever it is that they need, this is exactly what we needed in order to open your eyes.
So right now, all I can tell you is that we don't have the numbers. I'm going to do everything that I can to say the Democrats need to stand together, and we need not give them anything, because if they are not promising to do right by us, not to mention, even if we engage in negotiations, if he feels like he can just go ahead and take all the Democratic priorities out of whatever, then we also are going to be losing. So right now, I know everybody is panicked. I know everyone is upset, and I completely understand. All I can tell you is that hopefully we will have some judges, whether they are Democrats or Republican appointees, that will follow the law. This is very simple. What he is doing is lawless. He is lawless, and y'all decided that y'all wanted a thug in chief, and that's exactly what we got. We got somebody that showed y'all he don't have no respect for the law. He will continue to violate the law. He is violating the law. We will see if judges will continue to enable him to violate the law. I am sorry, y'all, because I'm running late, so I gotta go in, because my district, the ones that make sure that they hire me, and they are the only ones that can fire me, they are waiting on me to get inside so that we can go ahead and have our in-district swearing in. I promise y'all I'm going to do everything that I can to keep you abreast, but it is like drinking from a fire hose, and that is how they operate. They want us to feel the amount of chaos that we feel. They want us to feel like, you know what, all is lost. But we have been here before. We have had a civil rights movement, and we won that. We will win again if we just pull together. Stop letting them divide us. This isn't about whether or not you agree that black people should have jobs, whether women should have jobs, whether you agree on reproductive access, whether you agree that those that are struggling should have access to food, whether you agree that those that are struggling should have access to childcare, whether you think our seniors should get Meals on Wheels and should be able to eat. It's not about whether or not you agree with any of that. And I would hope that we all agree with decency, but it seems like decency went out the window in this country.
Wait, so we just letting in the people who don't agree with all that? And this club just let anybody in now.
But you have to understand that if they can attack one of us, they can attack all of us. So stop letting them divide you over things like trans folk. Because guess what? Everybody that got upset about the trans folk, listen, that's now impacting whether or not you have food. Or everybody that was convinced that the immigrants were taking the black jobs, so to speak. But now we got people that aren't showing up to the farms. And now we have record prices when it comes to eggs. And now he wants to say, you know what, CDC, you're not allowed to send out information about things such as COVID-19, or FDA, you're not allowed to warn of the things that are going on in our food supply. Literally, people will die if we don't come together. It is time out for all the division. All we need is decency, and we need people that are really signing up to do the job for all American people and not looking out just for the billionaire few. All right, so I gotta go. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I will do my best to stay on top of this.
Well, can y'all at least be decent? Okay, well, come on down then. I see where you landed the plane on that one, and I very much appreciate it. You mentioned something about the CDC, something that I think y'all might want to check out.
We begin with the state at the center of an unprecedented tuberculosis outbreak. Kansas is reporting the largest documented number of cases. Eva Pilgrim has the latest developments. And Eva, this is, of course, an ongoing situation, so there's concern that there could be more cases. Good morning.
That's exactly right, Robin. This is an active outbreak, and health officials expect there could be more cases. It is the most deadly infectious disease in the world, but it hasn't been a major concern here in the U.S. for many decades, until now.
This morning, health officials in Kansas are dealing with the largest documented outbreak of tuberculosis in U.S. history. There have been 2 deaths along with 67 active cases. TB is one of the world's leading infectious disease killer and is spread person to person by germs that can stay in the air for hours.
But a galvanizing message, as always, from Jasmine Crockett. Shout out to her for once again saying what folks absolutely needed to hear. But just to slide back to how this whole thing was started, this is Project 2025. It is the white supremacy agenda. And don't think just because that's the box that you check on the census that they see you the way that you see yourself.
Well, I'm proud to be a straight white man where at least I know I'm free. And I don't care who has to die to keep that right for me. And I'll gladly stand up next to you and take your rights away. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I'm a straight white man. God bless the USA. Still workshopping it, but that sounds like it fits them a little better. Don't you think?
Hey, I want to thank you guys so much for supporting the channel as we approach a new administration and the changing winds of our media landscape. I want to invite you to join my channel. I think it's very important to preserve a space and a platform where I can communicate clearly and honestly, as all of our creators are hoping to maintain. Unfortunately, it looks like that ground may be evaporating right underneath our feet. So I wanted to let you know I'm going to continue to post on my channel, but I'll also be posting more in the membership section as well, so we can have clear and honest conversations. You can find the button to join right there on my page. There's also a link in the description box to all of my videos. I also want to invite you to join my mindfulness and meditation channel. That's my second channel. It is Way of Waters, because we gonna need it. We gonna need it. I might wear that thing out by the midterms.